It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of April 5th, 2002. We got 3 films to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman back together again for the first time since Kiss the Girls in the thriller High Crimes. So the story follows a criminal defense lawyer played by Ashley Judd whose husband is arrested and accused of being the source of a shooting that killed 9 people in El Salvador in 1988. An investigation reveals her husband was then a member of the United States Marine Corps operating under a different name. The stakes are high as her client faces up to a life sentence for murder, and she gets the help of Morgan Freeman. The husband's played by Jim Caviezel, pre-Passion of the Christ. Directed by Carl Franklin, who's made a couple pretty good movies. Some of the most notable ones, including, One False Move, Devil in a Blue Dress. So he's been a decent director before, but needless to say, this is not one of his better movies. In fact, it's a movie that really does not make a whole lot of sense whatsoever. I mean, it's a movie that really is struggling to find something to work with here, and these are really great actors all around here. I mean, Morgan Freeman's great. Jim Caviezel can be a good actor at times. I feel really bad for Ashley Judd because it seemed like around this time, nobody really knew what to do with her. I mean, she's a great actress overall, but like the movies they were putting her in, it's like they had no idea what fits her the best. Like, what kind of a genre should you put her in? Do you put her in these thrillers? Do you put her in romantic comedies? Do you put her in romantic dramas? Like, where do you put a woman like her with her range of acting? And like I said, she's been a terrific actress before, but this was around that time when I feel like they were really struggling to find something for her to do, like something to really show off her acting abilities. And it's a film that's just really, really dull and boring. It's a film you can pretty much see what's going to happen at the end. It's a very predictable storyline, a very predictable plot. Like, you can tell what the twists and turns are going to be, and like I said, it's a film that really these actors deserve a whole lot better than what they're given here, and there's just nothing there. Like, the connection between this guy who supposedly was a killer in 14 years prior to this makes no sense whatsoever. Like, they don't even try to explain why they connected him to this, and it's just like nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever. And I guess because Kiss the Girls was somewhat of a success at the box office, they said, hey, we can get Ashley Judd and Morgan Freeman together and have them being the sole point of this. But yeah, I got nothing else for you on this one here. This was a dull movie. So, yeah, that's High Crimes for you. So, let's go ahead and turn this around a bit with a couple of good movies. Let's start off with the first movie we have here, and that is Ryan Reynolds in his breakout film role in National Lampoon's Van Wilder. Another one of those movies that looks stupid on paper, should not work whatsoever, and yet it's one of those movies that I love going back to every once in a while. Of course, you have Ryan Reynolds as the title character, and it follows the misadventures of its lead character, who's a 7th-year senior who's made it his life goals to help undergrads at Coolidge College succeed in the future. And after an article was written about his legacy, Van Wilder's party lifestyle was brought to light. This brings the attention to Wilde's father, who's coincidentally played by Tim Matheson, who was, of course, in Animal House, and cuts him out of his tuition. And now he's become stuck in the middle of a love triangle between Gwen and his mean-spirited her mean-spirited boyfriend, Richard, who are all struggling to graduate. He tries various schemes to earn enough money to pay his tuition and graduate with help from Gwen and the rest of the student body, except a couple of sinister enemies who attempt to sabotage his own efforts. So, yeah, it's basically just it's a typical college movie, but a college movie that actually is legitimately funny. I mean, it's not quite Animal House, but it's more on the same level of something like a How High. I mean, I talked about how much I love that movie, and this movie definitely is one of those ones that I love watching all the time. I think this is very funny stuff. You do buy the connection between Ryan Reynolds and Tara Reid in this movie. Cal Penn, who plays Taj in this, is very funny. There's a lot of really good moments in here, really a lot of silly, fun moments. It's a movie that clearly knows what kind of a movie it is. I mean, it's literally a knockoff of these classic 80s college movies. I mean, it's literally got Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, and also the principal from The Breakfast Club is in here again, Paul Gleason, who was in Not Another Teen Movie, which is another movie that's making fun of 80s college films. And, Chris Owens, the Shermanator is in this movie as well. You've got Sophia Bush, pre-One Tree Hill. Simon Helberg from The Big Bang Theory is in this movie. Edie McClurg from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Aaron Paul is in this as well. For some reason, Dr. Joyce Brothers is in here. Tom Edward Scott from That Thing You Do. Lamar Odom has a cameo in here. I mean, when you really look at this movie and you see what they're trying to accomplish here, this did a lot better job of making me laugh harder than most college movies try to do. Like, these are the type of movies that I miss so much, and it's so good that you can even accept the fact that it has a poop joke that is not that creative whatsoever, but the way it's presented. I mean, it's literally using the same sound effects from Dumb and Dumber, which is one of the greatest poop moments of all time, and it's using those same sound effects, and the way it's presented here, every time it happens in this movie towards the end, I'm laughing my ass off. It's that friggin' funny. Like, it's so well done, and I think it helps because of the actor who plays the bad guy in the movie, Daniel Cosgrove, who plays Richard. Like, his facial reactions, are just so hilarious on their own. It's just like I can't help it, man. It's just one of those movies that really is. It's stupid. It knows it's stupid, but it's so hilarious at the same time. And like I said, it launched Ryan Reynolds into the movie star that he would eventually become, before he eventually became the movie star that we know him as today. I mean, this was still like 14 years before Deadpool really put him over the map. But this was the movie that put him into the Hollywood stratosphere and say, hey, he's here, and he'll eventually become the star that we know he'll become within the next couple of years. And I love it, man. I love this movie so much. It's a stupid movie, but it's a good, fun, stupid movie. It's one I always go back to. It's a friggin' hilarious movie. I love it. I love it. I can't recommend this movie enough. Like, if you're looking for a good, old-fashioned college comedy on the same level as something like an Animal House or Porky's, like, don't expect a classic by any means, but expect a movie that is absolutely really, really funny when it knows exactly what it's trying to accomplish here. And it's really, really funny stuff. Can't recommend this one enough. Van Wilder. So with that said, let's move on to the last movie we have here. A movie that, one of those ones that got kind of screwed over by the events of September 11th, and that is Barry Sonnenfeld's latest film, Big Trouble. So yeah, like a couple of other movies we've talked about, this is a film that definitely got screwed over by the events of September 11th. In fact, this thing was literally supposed to come out 10 days before September 11th. It had this strong advertising push. However, the attacks that year made the film's comedic smuggling of a nuclear device onto an airplane unpalatable, and so the film got pushed back. The campaign was toned down completely, almost to the point of abandonment. In fact, the one trailer that you see out here, like, I don't even know if that's actually from the trailer for the original release or the one afterwards, because they do mention that the guy, that Stanley Tucci, needs a missile, and it's never brought up again. But the story of Big Trouble is that you have, this is based off of a book by Dave Barry, who, of course, became the inspiration for Dave's World, a TV series from the 90s, where you follow a diverse group of people through a series of extremely strange and humorous situations against the backdrop of Miami. And this has a pretty stacked cast to it. I mean, Tim Allen, Rene Russo, Stanley Tucci, Ben Foster, Zooey Deschanel, Tom Sizemore and Johnny Knoxville, Dennis Farina, Janine Garofalo, Patrick Warburton, Heavy D, Omar Epps, Jason Lee, Sofia Vergara, DJ Qualls, Andy Richter. I mean, stacked cast throughout this movie, man. And it's Barry Sonnenfeld. And, you know, the movie was not the biggest hit, I think, because they really didn't know how to market the movie after the events of September 11th. But if you watch the movie's actually really funny. It's very unique, and it fits into the style of comedy that you would expect from a guy like Barry Sonnenfeld. I mean, it's a film that is very, very funny and very much all over the place. I mean, it's a movie that's really, really silly. It's really, really fun. It's funny. Tim Allen and Patrick Warburton made the much better movie with them in it, besides other than Joe Somebody, which was a complete disaster. But this is what Joe Somebody really should have been like. But it's a slick, funny movie, man. It's one that I don't think gets the proper respect it deserves, mostly because I think a lot of people were kind of turned off on it by the later marketing for it that kind of ruined the film's ebb and flow. But once you actually see the film and see what they're trying to say here, like, it's really, really clever, funny stuff. It's a very stupid, very fun movie with a lot of good dark humor to it. I mean, it's a very ridiculously fun movie. It's a film where you really there are a lot of moments in here that will make you laugh pretty hard, and it's definitely one of the more underrated Barry Sonnenfeld films. It's one of those films that kind of came and went, like I said, because of what happened, but it certainly was a nice change of pace from something like Wild Wild West. I mean, it was like him getting back to his old ways again with something like a Get Shorty, mixed in with a little bit of For Love and Money, which is kind of a criminally underrated film of his from back in the mid-90s, but I don't know, I really liked it a lot. I know it didn't get the proper respect it deserved back then, but I'm glad to see it has gained somewhat of a following over the years. I like it. I think it's very funny and very clever. definitely check it out. I highly recommend checking it out. A very underrated film, Big Trouble. Seek it out if you can. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, we'll take a look at the films of April 12th. 3 films in particular, including Changing Lanes with Ben Affleck and Samuel L. Jackson, Cameron Diaz, Christina Applegate, and Selma Blair in The Sweetest Thing, and also Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey in Frailty. We'll take a look at those 3 films next time, but until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, but until then, as always, take care.